We now turn to the motion entitled the Anglian Water Site, agenda item 6C, to be considered by the Council, which can be found in your agenda. A briefing note has been circulated to, and a copy has been placed in your agenda packets. Councillor Blanco has given notice of an amendment which is set out in your information pack on page 17 and seconded by Councillor Saris. So, call on Councillor Blanco. Oh, sorry. I call on Councillor Catherine Smart to move the motion.
Mr. Mayor, we have three objections to the decision which the Executive Council took of the Development Plan Subcommittee last November. The first is that the decision was lacking in vision and foresight. We are well aware that Anglian Water have declared there are no plans to move, but the decision of the Executive Councillor assumes that that will remain the case, at least for the life of the local plan, possibly for the next 50 years. And we know that big firms change their mind. The Labour amendment makes this case for us. When the 2006 local plan was prepared, marshals were adamant that they would move, they told us so very clearly and firmly. And we also know that they changed their minds. When big firms like these consider moving, there are two main factors they have to think of. The availability of a site to move to, and the value of the land they would release if they moved. And the City Council can do very little to affect either of these factors. What is definite policy of a firm one year can change the next, without reference to us. The Council should be aware of this and should take account of it. Should Anglian Water change their mind, or perhaps, I should say, should the value of the land so near the city cause them to reconsider, we should be ready for that contingency. And in particular, we should not have acted in such a way as to prevent us taking advantage of the opportunity. Which leads me to my second objection, that it was wrong in planning terms. Mr. Mayor, you know, as a planner, that any application for part of a site has to consider whether granting it would make it impossible to develop the whole site properly. The Executive Council is also a planner, which makes his decision a bit puzzling. When he was asked to approve further work on option 2A and option 4A, he rejected not only any consideration of option 4A, but even refused to require that a possible relationship between the smaller and the larger option be kept in mind. We believe that was wrong, but it would make for poor planning. Our third objection is because it has put us out of step with South Cambs District Council. We have a duty to cooperate with our neighbours, and as we're well aware, for a city with such tightly drawn boundaries, we can only make progress if we do. The decision of the Executive Councillor puts us out of step with South Cambs, and the officers of the two authorities are working on different instructions but have the duty to cooperate. This makes very little sense, and a reconsideration by the Executive Council would make it easier for them. I therefore recommend the motion.
Thank you. Do you have a council to second this motion? Councillor Carter, would you like to speak now? I'll take the first one before you speak.
You've got 6 minutes 28 seconds.
You've got 6 minutes 28 seconds.
I don't think I'll take all that time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Owers, one of his witty speeches just earlier when he was making his eulogy of Simon Payne, said councils can be overcautious. I suggest that this is a case where the council or the executive councillor is perhaps being overcautious station itself, which is now being built, is going to have a dramatic effect on that whole area. For those of you who know London well, the cross-rail stations are contributing to enormous regeneration of the areas immediately around them. And I believe that there is every likelihood that that would happen here in Cambridge. So it is disappointing, to put it no stronger, to see that the sewage works have been left out of consideration for what I believe should be an overall strategy for the area surrounding the new station. Now, it's easy to say that major projects such as this would take years and years to develop. That has been the case in the past, but this ignores the fact that the pace of development in Cambridge is much faster today than it was even 5 years ago. Doing nothing ignores the fact that Anglia Water, whom I've consulted and discussed this matter with, is not against an eventual move to a new site and would welcome the engagement with the council to map out how this could be achieved. When the subject came up previously some years back, moving the sewage works was simply not considered viable. But new technologies, new thinking, make it an opportunity that we should start to be considering now. Anglia Water prides itself on being a forward-thinking company. They're keen to embrace green technologies, reduce the carbon footprint, be energy neutral. It has a property department that could be encouraged to investigate possible sites. Thanks to these new technologies, a new sewage works would need less space than the current one. There is much in all of this that could be and should be discussed. Why wait 10 years or more? Finally, if we could free up that land where the sewage works now is, just think of the housing that could be put on that site. In close proximity to the station, it would be a wonderful combination. And I would suggest to the Executive Councillor that you modify your position and that you all support this motion. Thank you.
Councillor Blank, I understand you've got an amendment.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. It's in the information pack, so people had a chance to read it. I just want to make a few opening comments. I'm being accused of being over-cautious. It's not really a trait I recognise in myself. I think that a case of, over the years, from experience, you become aware of the reality of current situations within the city and respond accordingly. The existing motion talked about an ambitious proposal for the sewage works or the water treatment works, as they like to be called in plain terms these days, to be moved. Ambition is one thing, but in terms of deliverability, you have to square that circle, as it were, and decide whether your ambition will ever be realised. And the reason I referred to previous discussions that clearly most members here will never have taken part in or probably have recollection of at all, but those of us who have been around this council a while, I see Deputy Mayor smiling already, those of us who have been around here an awful long while do remember the discussions in the early part of the century leading up to the 2006 local plan adoption. In response to Councillor Tunnicliffe, at the time, your group believed the relocation of the water treatment works was likely was a viable proposition. Those of us who were then in opposition pointed out the fact from the fiction and pointed out that the likelihood of Anglian Water moving prior to the adoption of the local plan, when the costs of relocation at that time, this was before 2006, were in the 110 million pound category. It was unlikely to make financial sense, it was unlikely to happen, but the The shame of it all, of course, is that we based our housing projections in 2006, or your group based the city's housing projections in 2006 on two, and I'll come on to the one in a minute, but two fundamentally flawed allocation policies. I looked at the Northern Fringe East in the existing local plan 2006. It refers, I've always thought it was 2,500, it refers to 2,300 houses. And I'll mention the airport site as it's in the amendment. The airport site was envisaged to deliver between 8 and 10,000 between us and South Cambridgeshire. That was in 2006. We're now in 2016, 10 years hence. Neither of those two major allocations ever saw the light of day, and have yet to see the light of day. And we wonder why there's such housing pressure in this city. We wonder why we have constant discussions on the doorstep about housing for young people and housing for people that we represent. It all goes back to poor strategic planning. And we told you at the time, those of us who at the time had a view on various planning strategies that were being undertaken, they were supported by officers. So I mentioned that in light of the existing motion. That was supported by officers at that time quite strongly. They said the airport would move. They said the water treatment works would move. Sorry, we didn't believe them then, and I think until a feasible option that is actually put before us that is viable, deliverable in the proper overall context put before us, I think our position is the right one to take. And the reason I say it's the right one to take is that we can't wait 10 more years for this area around the new North Station to be developed. We have not the capacity or we do not have the ability to hold back the tide of development in that area. The whole problem with having an over-ambitious strategy that can't be delivered is that it stalls the development of the area per se, and it has clearly stalled the Northern Fringe East development. Working groups were set up, never met. A former councillor who was trying to be a councillor again actually stormed out the meeting once, and the meeting was staying for it, and we couldn't even discuss the basic premise, as I recall. But that's I'm not going to go into that. But in terms of the strategy, I, in my role as Executive Councillor for Planning and Transport, have to make a judgment in terms of where we see the likelihood of allocations and the likelihood of sites coming forward. In this case, like I said in motion, I've accepted it. If South Cam's in their investigation show a proposal and put a proposal in front of us that says this is now a viable proposition to move the water treatment works, then I'll say, fine, yeah, you showed it to me, yeah, I'll reconsider and accept that position. But I have to say, you've got to follow your own views, you've got to follow your own experience, you've got to say, at this moment in time, I don't believe that to be the case. I've heard that there's an awful lot of discussions going on. Sorry, I heard that in the early part of the century, before the 2006 local plan. There were an awful lot of discussions going on at that time. And the group obviously put that policy in place as a result, believing it could be delivered. It is certainly not been delivered, and it is stalled that area. As I said, I think the necessity for us, and I think it's incumbent both in local plan terms and in terms of overall strategy from the city perspective, to be realistic and to offer a realistic, deliverable vision for the city. And yes, options 2A, what I think it was, is a less ambitious option, but it's still a deliverable and viable option in our opinion, and that's why
we think it's home, Councillor. It's just 7 minutes now, so your secretary got 3.
Do I get a chance to come back at the end? When I will come back to the point about our duty to operate with our South Cambridgeshire colleagues, but I did make that point in the motion. Thank you.
I think Councillor Sarris is going to say this.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I didn't speak on the last motion because, as chair of the Development and Plan Scrutiny Committee, speak on this one. And as chair of that committee, I understand where Councillor Smart is coming from on this issue, and I apologise that the rapid concatenation of meetings on the 17th of November meant that the decision that was made was presented very rapidly to both officers and members, and I made my position on that clear at the time. But the Liberal Democrat motion that we are amending fails to look at this from a local perspective and from the perspective of residents, and fails to take into account their legitimate anxieties and concerns with respect to this matter. The new station, Mr Mayor, is coming to East Chesterton, and as Councillor Abbott is able to confirm, on the doorstep residents are very anxious about the impact of it is going to be on their quality of life. In particular, they want to know, and they want to be reassured, that any plans to develop around the new station are going to be deliverable, are going to be sustainable, and will not blight their neighbourhoods with overdevelopment. Now, the option that Councillor Benko took off the table on the 17th of November, and the one that Councillor Smart wishes to revitalise, is not only of uncertain deliverability, but is also the one that involved the highest level of development, the least concern for the local environment in East Chesterton, threatened to bring the maximum amount of traffic to the streets of East Chesterton, and crucially, it was the option that local residents objected to most vociferously in the public consultation exercise, rejecting it by a margin of over 2 to 1. Now, Mr Mayor, the Liberal Democrats like to claim that they believe in listening to residents, especially when it comes to traffic, to the environment, to overdevelopment. The streets of Market and Union and West Chesterton are littered with leaflets telling residents that. But when it comes to this issue, what we see is a return, when push comes to shove, to further evidence they still basically believe in top-down, maximalist development and pie-in-the-sky plans of the sort that did so much damage to the urban infrastructure of Cambridge and which held back the development of the North East Fringe when they were running this council. Now, Mr Mayor, we on this side believe in listening to residents, including the residents of King's Bridges and East Chesterton who have made their views known. And that is why the Executive Councillor made the decision he made, and that is why I would ask fellow councillors to support this amendment.
Thank you. Looking round, no further. We have summed up Councillor Black. No, yeah, Councillor Black. Yep. And then Councillor Smart. Yeah.
How long do I have, Chair, please? Mr Mayor, sorry. How long do I have?
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Okay. Just to cover the point about our difference of opinion with our South Cambridgeshire colleagues. This is an adult relationship. We work very well with our South Cambridgeshire colleagues, and we have done with the local plan process, and we have done over the last couple of years. And I think they welcome the fact we are constructive and engaged with them in an adult and proper manner. In terms of our positions, well, yes, they're entitled to their opinion, but we differ. I mean, that's happens to be the case. They will get on and carry out investigation on their part as part of this process into the the ambitious option. That's their right to do so. We respect that. And like I said, if they prove to us that there is a doable scheme and a viable scheme, and can prove that evidence base accordingly, then clearly we will look at that fairly squarely and accept that to be the case. And if I'm proved wrong, I'm proved wrong. The point is, we can't not just dismiss the previous experience. We cannot just dismiss a situation we believe to be the case. I would estimate the financial cost of relocating water treatment works, regardless of whether you can actually find a site, will be nearer 200 million these days in terms of construction terms, in terms of Cambridge terms. In both development sort of logic and therefore deliverable sort of realism in terms of the planning side, the margins and the viability of that is stretching the point somewhat, I would say. The other factor I will throw into the mix, of course, is that county members on the joint spatial, I should remember this by heart, but I know it's the joint spatial and transport group, but that we some of us have the pleasure of sitting on, there were strong concerns relayed from the county members on that as to the viability and the feasibility of option 4. What was option 4 then? Option 4A on the paper. We should not discount the fact that that meeting of the three authorities, though the vote in favour of two options, I abstained, as you recall, but there were certainly concerns from various members of the county representation on that committee who again believed in their view, from an objective viewpoint, that this was an undeliverable vision and made that point fairly squarely. To me, this is about what we can achieve, what is realistic, and we cannot allow areas of land within the city boundary to stall, stagnate on the basis that we think in 10, 15, 20, 30, 50, 100 years' time a new technology will come forward and someone will be prepared to pay for the water treatment works to be moved. Because if you read what Angley Water say, it's exactly what they said 10, 15 years ago. If someone pays and does all the work for them, yes, they will move. Any business would say that, wouldn't they? But they are not prepared to sort of go down that route themselves. So they will wait and see what proposals, whether they find the square or not, will come forward.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Smart, Catherine Smart.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not quite sure where Councillor Glencoe has got the idea that this motion suggests that we should stall on developing that site at all, because acknowledged that option, that he said that work on option 2A should be going ahead. So I don't know where that one has come from. The thing that I'm concerned about is that work on option 2A, just as said like that, should stop, should prevent development of the whole site should that become possible. Not that it stopped, that the work is stopped, but that there's that what is done makes it impossible to develop the full site should that be available at some future date. That's the thing that concerns me. And because I think that would be an extremely unfortunate development. But I never ever said, and motion doesn't say, that work should cease. So I don't know quite where that one's come from, at all. I will admit that I did not expect this motion to be seized on with great joy on the opposite side of the chamber. We won't be voting for the amendment, but I don't think we will go so far as to vote against the motion later on, but we certainly will be supporting it either.
That's it. So, okay, we go to the amendment then. All those in favour of the amendment, please show.
28.
Go now to the... Those again, sorry. Yeah.
It's 12, 28.
Two more hands to go. Do you know you knew that they were
We now go back to the main motion as amended. All those in favour, please show. All those against?
No.
No.
Well, they'll do it.
Thank you.